Today we're going to be talking about how to negotiate the best price with Chinese suppliers on Alibaba. In 2013, I left Germany and I moved to China. And since then, I've made tons of mistakes when it came to sourcing products here. And in this channel, I'm going to teach you all of the mistakes, and better, I'm going to teach you what I learned from these mistakes so you don't have to do them yourself. You can basically go right to success with your sourcing journey from this channel. So keep watching, because in this video I'm going to reveal how to get the best price and my basically secret strategy, how to get the best price on Alibaba. And in the end of this video, I'm also going to share my biggest sourcing secret with you that enabled me to source more than 1,000 products in just the last couple of years alone by myself here in China. So if you're new to this channel and you want to learn how to source, sell, and profit from your product online, absolutely consider subscribing. Before we start, negotiation, I think, is a thing that, first of all, people are afraid of. I think from just the Western kind of culture standpoint, we're always very afraid to negotiate because we don't want to make the one we're negotiating with feel that we're too harsh. You know, we don't want to insult him by wanting a too big of a discount, right? So I think we're a little bit afraid of negotiations. And in China, that's something completely different. So negotiations are happening on a much different level. So if in Europe or in wherever Western country you are and you're buying a car and you shave off 5%, and then you made a good deal, right? The thing is, in China, the prices are set so high that it's easy to shave off 20 or 30% of your price. I also think negotiating is a little bit like an art, right? Because you can't be too harsh and you at the same time can't be too soft. So you have to kind of find the balance, because if you're too harsh and you do insult someone, then they're not wanting to work with you anymore. But if you're too soft, then they're taking advantage of you. So keep watching. I have a few tips in here that you can follow easily. So the very first thing is that you look reliable and serious, right? I mean, Alibaba suppliers are often dealing with big companies. And if you look like just another guy who's working at home from his kitchen table, that's not really going to come good. For example, let me tell you a little story. I had two friends here in China, and we went to a fake market. So on the fake market, you can literally buy any fake products. And we went after watches. So you can buy Rolexes and whatnot, watches for really cheap, right? So when they went around alone and they asked for the prices, the base price, and that's something you have to remember for later, because you also need to create and establish a base price. But the base price that they got set by the watch sellers was 1,000 RMB. That's around, what's that, like 130, 140 US dollar, right? And that was the set price. And from there, they started negotiating. Now, if you have the price set as 1,000 RMB, it's kind of hard to negotiate down to like 300, right? Because the distance is just too great. But then when I came in and I asked for the price in Chinese and I spoke with the seller in Mandarin, then the price immediately that they started with dropped to 500, just because I looked more serious and that I knew what I was doing, because they assumed, well, if this guy is speaking Chinese, then he knows a little bit what's up, right? So after I went in, we started at 500 and we negotiated down to 300. When these guys went alone and they tried to negotiate, they were ending up at like 700, and they saw they made a really good deal, right? And it's the very same for you if you're getting your prices on Alibaba. So if you don't look serious, you're just going to get the higher base price, right? But if you look serious and the factory really want to work with you because they want to work with serious people that might order a lot more in the future, then the base price that they're going to start with is already going to be lower. How can you actually do that? How can you actually look serious? And it all starts already with your inquiry. So when you're sending a message to the supplier and you inquire for the price and the MOQs and the lead times and all of these things, people always complain that they get like drip fed with answers from the supplier. So you might know that you send 5 questions and you only get 1 answer back, and you send another one and you only get 1 answer back, right? And if you want to look serious, you can avoid that by just using a product inquiry sheet. That's basically all the things you you want to know about the product that you put into one sheet, and then you send that sheet to suppliers and you start your message off saying that you would love to consider working with them, that your company had a look. You introduce yourself as the purchase manager or someone that is not the CEO, and then you tell them what you want and then ask them to fill all of the points in the sheet. Now, the sheet should also include technical terms that you have to research for your product. You have to research and find out what kind of certifications do you actually need for your product? What certifications do you actually want the company to have? And if you want to find out where to get those, always depends on the product and where you're selling. So if you head over to asiainspection.com, or actually you have to Google it because they changed their name and I can never pronounce it. I put a link in the description so you can find it there. These guys can really help you out and tell you exactly what certifications you need. So you can put all that in the inquiry sheet. And when they fill that, they can already see how serious you are about it. If you're asking specific questions about materials, about quality standards, and about certifications, then they're much more likely to already give you a better price right from the get-go. I already made a product inquiry sheet, and you can get it for free when you join my new web class. So just below the video, there's a link to the sourcing web class that you can join for free. And just for joining, you get the sheet from me and I'll send it to you. The second tip I have for you is to get as many quotations as possible, because people often make the mistake that they get 5 quotes, right? So you look at Alibaba, you filter some suppliers and you ask 5 of them or 10 of them. That's not enough. You have to ask as many as possible, because the thing is that we always associate high price with good quality, right? But in China it's very different. So when you get tons of quotations, the prices that you get will vary dramatically. But later when you get samples, and we'll get there later in this video, then you will be able to see that some of the samples have the same quality, yet the price is different. But you would have never found that out if you would have only gotten 5 or 10 quotes, right? Sometimes we even hire VAs to get in and get us hundreds of quotations. And then we can really dig in and really filter that. Hundreds might be a bit extreme, but absolutely don't stop at 5 or 10. Go for 20, 30, 40. Really go deep, get a lot of quotations so you have the whole overview. The next tip I have for you is, before you contact the factory, you Google their location and you have a look where they actually are. If they're nearby the coast, which most suppliers are, then your price is going to be better overall because shipping costs are cheaper. They don't have to carry your whole product through China to bring it to the coast to ship it off, right? So if they're already located at a harbor nearby, then that will cut off a significant point of your price. And with that, we come to the 4th tip. And when you're getting your quotation can include or exclude the shipping, and include or exclude the packaging, and include or exclude your changes. So when you get a quotations, I always love to ask for a BOM. That's the bill of material. That's basically everything the product contains, but it also lists all the other costs, like the packaging, like the logo prints, and like all of these little things are listed. So later on, when you go into negotiations, it's really critical that you know what's the actual product cost and what's the cost of the logo print. Because if you start negotiating and you see the logo price is really expensive, then you might go back and say, well, look, we don't need a multiple color logo, just make it simple, or change the style of the logo and you will already shave off money here. So when you get quotations, you ask for a full quote, including your product changes. But in the next tip, let's speak about the samples. When you talk about samples and when you're ordering samples, the one mistake you want to avoid is ordering samples from all of these suppliers, including your changes. You really only want to go there and don't waste your time on all of that once you qualify the supplier as someone that's reliable and someone that can deliver a good product quality. Let's dig into samples a little bit more. We're going to do a whole video on how you can save money on samples, and we're going to link that up here in the video. If the link isn't there, absolutely make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to this channel so you get notified when we actually get this video out. Now, when I have all the quotations, I look at some that are way out of my league, or some that come back to me with minimum order quantities that are way too much, or lead times that I can't work with, right? So I filter, that's the first filter, and you get them out. Then the next step, you order samples from all of these suppliers. It can get a little bit pricey, but if you have someone in China to bundle all of them and send them to you, it's going to be a lot cheaper. You want to do that because you want to get a quality impression. Like I said before, you just want to get samples off the shelf and you don't want to have any of your changes in there, because in this step right now, it's just about qualifying suppliers. So A, who can deliver at a good price, and B, who can deliver a good quality or good enough quality for you. So you want to have both, all the quotes and all the samples, and then we go ahead into the next step. I always like to get the samples first before I come back and negotiate with them and tell them or ask them why their price is higher or lower than someone else when I get the quotations. For me, it's really important to have the sample because I don't want to waste my time talking with factories about their price when I don't even know if I would choose them because of their quality. Now that I have all these samples, then I can come back to them and I can say, well, look, I got a lot of quotes from your competitors as well, and I got their samples. So I can compare the quality and I can tell you that your quality is equal to the other ones that we consider. So they can't come up and with an excuse why their price is higher and say, well, look, our price is higher because the product is better or the quality is, better or whatever it is. Because now you have the sample and you can compare. So you let them know that and those excuses will be gone. So now that you have all that leverage, you can ask them and go ahead and say, well, look, your prices are absolutely not competitive with we see other suppliers, we see their quotes, we see their sample quality, and your price is absolutely not competitive. I would love to go further with you and I would love to work with you. But for my boss, I have to give him something. So as long as we can't have a better price, we can't move forward to get customized samples with you. And that really leads me to the next tip, because you can now play kind of good cop, bad cop. You can always have your boss be the bad guy, and you can start becoming a friend and build a relationship with the salesperson to work together and to work something out to make your boss happy, because you convince the salesperson that you would really, really like to work with them, that you absolutely love the way you guys getting along, that you like the way that you can work together and all of this stuff, and that you personally absolutely love the product and you'll be okay with the price. But in the end, it's the boss has to say, right? So try to work something out, build a relationship. When you have a good relationship with your salesperson, it's all easier. So let me summarize all the tips for you, and then I'm going to give you my bonus tip on how to save even more money. Number 1, be serious. Don't look like another guy working from his home table at the kitchen. Number 2, get as many quotes as possible. Get your BOM, your bill of material, and all of these things included into this quotation, and get the quotation for your customized changes. Number 3, get samples and filter suppliers based on the quotation and based on the sample quality, so you don't waste your time working with suppliers you don't actually really want to work with. Number 4, build leverage. Let them know that you already collected samples and quotations from competitors, and unfortunately their prices aren't competitive, and to convince your boss, they have to do a little bit better. Finally, make friends with them and use your relationship to get an even better price. So for my last big tip here, I want to share a little story. You remember in the beginning of this video, I shared the story where I took my friends to the fake market, and just because I looked more serious speaking Chinese, I got a better price off the batch. Well, if I take my girlfriend and she's Chinese, if we go to the local market and we buy some whatever shrimps and veggies and fish, and we go to this really local things, she always has to walk alone and I have to walk behind her, because as soon as the seller sees me with them, the price goes up, right? And that is because they don't take me serious, because I am not Chinese. So there are different levels kind of in China, okay? And there are different prices. There's kind of the foreigner price. Actually, there's one more. There's the Amazon seller price, there is the foreigner price, and then there's the local Chinese price. So my very big tip, and the thing that I absolutely preach in my videos, is you have to get a sourcing agent. Just like my girlfriend already gets a better price if she walks alone, just because she's Chinese, The same way it works with your sourcing agents. So if you have the right agents, they can immediately get 20 or 30% off right off the bat, just when they contact the supplier. So this is what I want to introduce you to. And in the video above here, you can learn more about it. Again, if the video isn't showing yet, that means it's not out yet, but it will be out very, very soon. So hit the subscribe button below and make sure you hit the bell to get notified when we launch the video. So let me know in the comments if either you're more the kind of do-it-yourself kind of person and you source yourself on Alibaba, or if you want to be a bit smart about it and get a sourcing agent to have that extra leverage. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know in the comments, will you source yourself, do-it-yourself kind of guy, and you source yourself on Alibaba? Or today we're going to talk how to negotiate with Chinese suppliers for the best price. Today I'm going to share my best strategy, how you can get the best price possible for your product. So keep so high that you can set that you can in China the price